Hello, my friends. We are going to do, ooh, what's in the way? Something is in the way. You know what it is? Here, I'll show you. So my dragon, he sits, I record on a laptop. I have a laptop. And he just sits up here, his little legs fit, protecting. He happened to be near the camera, closer than usual. So now you know. Protect a dragon. Hey, who doesn't need a little like calming down right now? I want to talk about the forecast. This is the weekly forecast for my membership platform. And for those of you who are seeing this who are not on a membership platform, that is the way I earn my living. So you're welcome to come and join us. Um, and I post it on the very last day of the week that I'm talking about. And the reason I do that is just so you can see, what you might want to join us. It's good to have. It's my living. So, you're welcome to join us. If not, comment, like, share. I have lots of YouTube shorts and there's daily forecasts there. So those are all free. And so you don't have to fork out anything for those. So that's the little advertising. So I want to talk about September 22nd through September 28th. And what I want to tell you guys, like I'm recording this on September 16th. I usually do it a few days ahead of time. But I'm doing it early because even earlier than usual, because there is so much stress and so much emotion and a lot of feelings going on. And I just wanted to give us this before we start what's going on for next week, which will be after the solar eclipse, which is on Sunday, the 21st. So why I'm saying this is like we have a lot of quincunx in the sky on, throughout the whole week in between these eclipses, the 2 weeks in between the eclipses. Lots and lots of the quincunx aspect. And that quincunx aspect is about regularly and consistently making adjustments and figuring out what's right for right now, and then really evolving through that to step just into the next thing. It's not about long-term goals right now. Doesn't mean you can't have that. That's my whole premise here is that these quincunx aspects, a lot of them that are happening on the week of the 15th. So it goes the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, where the rest of the quincunx is, and all the way to the 20th. So all the way between the time I post this on September 16th through the solar eclipse on the 21st, a ton of quincunx aspects. That is means that we're feeling uncomfortable. We're feeling like things we can't get in alignment with what we want to get in alignment with. And a boatload of them on September 16 is with Chiron, that wounded healer. And so, what this reminds me of, because of everything that's going on, that started last week and is moving through this week, and we're still just really processing, it's really stirred up a lot of emotions for a lot of people. And that is just normal and understandable. But if you are triggered in a really bad way where you're just reactionary and not your normal self, because the energies for a long time now, for months and months and months, it's just building and building and building. And what happened last week was something that was, quite shocking, and a crescendo, if you will, of energy. And so I want you, if this resonates with you, if you feel like something was triggered, and it doesn't matter what it was, with the activations of some of these planets, Mercury and Mars, are activating Chiron, that wounded healer. It is an opportunity for you to take some time and to go in a little deeper and figure out for yourself why you were overly activated or triggered. Okay. I'm not saying we don't have our emotions, because we do, and that's normal. But I mean, I want you to recognize this is your personal journey. I'm not asking anybody, I'm not telling anybody what to do here. I'm just informing you that if you're ready to do some deeper healing, you have that opportunity, because this week can create a lot of stress, so that we can then move into what we're releasing, what we're letting go, We're in that balsamic lunar phase. We're in a waning lunar phase until we get to that solar eclipse on Sunday, the 21st. And it's not till just before 4 p.m. here on the east coast of the US. You won't be able to see it. I believe the eclipse visually, it's like at the South Pole. But the point is like allow yourself some grace and some space and some self-healing. It's super important because we're still in Virgo season as well, which is all about self-care and being very present. So I hope that makes sense because I really want you to understand that feeling edgy is normal. Feeling whatever your emotions are is normal. But if you felt you were more reactionary than usual because of circumstances that we're seeing in the world right now, then I want you to address that for yourself inside. And the reason I do that and I say that is let me share the screen with you now. I don't have the screen open. Is because we have Mars in Scorpio. So let me actually hold the shift key down, wrong thing. Let's hold the shift key down and view all of these. I like to use with declination. So let me get my face out of the way here. Okay. So the first chart I wanted to look at was on September 22nd, Monday, September 22nd. So now here comes the forecast. And the reason I talked and I said everything I just said is because of the transits for the week of September 15 to September 21. And now on September 22nd, Mars enters the sign of Scorpio. And the energy of that is about going deep. It's about going deep. It's about taking those deeper steps into what it is you want. Because just a few minutes after Mars enters Scorpio, actually it's about 11 hours later, but Mars enters Scorpio. It's the co-ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is the ruler. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So it likes this sign and it says, I'm taking some action and I got to go deep. And we have to go deep. And this Mars makes a quincunx to Uranus, to Neptune. We'll talk about that throughout this forecast in front of us. Here's when the sun is in Libra. Okay, so the sun, this is the equinox, the fall equinox for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. And that's that moment. It's after the solar eclipse. That's a separate video. Go watch that. It's all over the place now. And, with the sun in Libra, we're looking for a place and a space for equilibrium. Now, we're looking for, of course, our relationships to feel harmonious and balanced and all of these good things. We're looking for beauty. We're looking for cooperation. We're moving out of that detail-oriented Virgo, even though Venus is still in Virgo. So we still have a flare of Virgo going on for a few more weeks with that sun in Libra that encourages us to kind of step back, if you will, and look at the bigger picture. Who's supporting us? Who isn't? Where are things feeling completely out of balance in your life? We can't change what's going on in the world, but we can control or manage or take steps about what is important for us in our own lives. And that's going to be the important thing for us to focus on as the sun enters Libra and as Mars is in Scorpio. Mars will be in Scorpio longer than the sun will be in Libra. So the whole time the sun is in Libra this time around, this year, Mars will be in Scorpio, and that means we're consistently looking for ways to compromise or to find the balance, to find the harmony, and to find the beauty and the cooperation that we need so we can take that deeper step that the Mars in Scorpio is requesting from us. It wants us to take a deeper step. It wants us to go deeper, especially if you were triggered by that Chiron energy, okay? That was going on in last week's forecast. If you didn't watch that, you can just scroll back wherever you're watching this, just scroll back and you'll find last week the forecast for actually the current week, the week that I'm talking, September 15th to the 21st. This week, September 22nd, all the way to the 28th. And that's what we got for the first day of the week, Monday, September 22nd. Mars in Scorpio, process that, process any of the healing things that may have triggered you. Take some time. It's not a quick fix. It's about recognizing that something really triggered you and you want to do some work on it. Scorpio loves therapy. and loves going deep to really understand the whole process. Loves shamanic work if you're into that. That's something that could be really, really healing and helpful. All right, the next forecast, the next aspect is this is exactly when Mars quincunx Neptune. Here it is. It's a funky look. It's right in there. There it is to Neptune. Excuse me. I have to cough. I'm going to turn my mic off for a second. Hold on. I'm fighting a little bug. It's always in September. I always feel really run down in September. I'm always just very run down in September, and I always catch a cold. Something like that. My immune system always gets compromised this time of year. So, how about you? It's because it's Virgo season. Yeah, it's up. While we're in Virgo season, it really impacts me. It's where my Virgo is in my chart. I always can expect some allergies or something to kick up my autoimmune system, my immune system, I mean. Anyways, Mars, a little personal story right there, wasn't it? Mars, Neptune. That creates a lot of energy around kind of what I was just saying in a sense where we feel like we want to do some shamanic work because that Neptune in Aries, it could be quite that because it's bold, right? It's bold spiritual work. It's like it's about taking our spiritual practices and actually doing something with it, creating something with it. But when Mars is Scorpio is asking us to go deeper, and that Neptune in Aries is kind of awkward in a sense because just the way they're connecting with each other. So we're not sure what the motivation is. We're not sure what step to take forward. And, what it really comes down to is we really don't even know what we're fighting for in a sense. So if you feel like things are foggy and you're unsure, then the way to get clearer results isn't right away, but just take some time, one step at a time, and just give yourself some space to rest, to realign with whatever's going on in your life, because that Mars in Scorpio is teaching us about going deep so we can evolve and change. And that Neptune is asking us to have faith in the steps that we take. So we're going to have a little bit of patience. I don't see a whole lot of patience here. I'm not sure why I just said that. But what it really comes down to is like we really need to have some faith in ourselves. Mars is in it's like I said, it's in its co-rulership, Scorpio, and it is also the ruler of Aries, where Neptune is. So there is, even though there is a quincunx aspect, it creates there is still a connection and a bond, even though we're not sure exactly what our steps are. And that's just the truth. We just don't know what our steps are. And that's Mars quincunx Neptune at 7 a.m., approximately 7 a.m. Eastern time on September 23rd. Next, we have on September 23rd, the Sun opposite Neptune, and that's at 8:53 a.m. So, they're only just an hour and a half away from each other. So, if we go back this one chart right there, you can see that the Sun is at 0 and Neptune is at 0. So, here's the exact moment in time, 8:53 a.m. So, the Sun opposite Neptune. The oppositions can show us clarity. Oppositions always are about awareness. Remember, a full moon is about awareness and illumination. Well, when the sun is opposite a planet or, another planet or the moon or a placement in your chart, it's supposed to show us where we're at and what we're doing and gives us just a little more clarity. So take the sun in Libra opposite Neptune in Aries, do some work around some spiritual practices once again, just it will illuminate that. Find a balance between who you are and the steps you take and what is where that balance can come from, where that maybe compromise or maybe the just where am I feeling the spiritual, the support that I need, spiritual because of Neptune, right? And finding that. And Neptune just has that softer blur to it, right? It's not a sharp edge. So allowing your inspiration to flow and allowing yourself, you don't have to make firm, solid decisions when we're full of quincunx aspects and oppositions. That's this right here. And that right there. I should probably make sure I am sharing the screen that I want to be sharing. I am not. Oh, for gosh darn it, you guys, I'm so sorry. You didn't see anything I just showed you, and I don't want to repeat myself because we're already 15 minutes into it. Here's Mars in Scorpio. Boy, I'm so sorry. Here is the equinox. Here is Mars, quincunx Neptune. And here is the sun opposite Neptune. And there we go. We're going to double check. Terrific. Yes, I am on the right page. Good, good. Sorry about that, folks. And then next we have the sun trine Uranus. Here's the sun trines Uranus. Sun trines Pluto. So we have this grand trine in air right here. So the sun trines Uranus at 10:55 p.m. Eastern on the 23rd, and then it trines Pluto at 2:05 a.m. on the 24th. Okay, so you're going to see this whole thing. I don't have to put up two charts, but here it is with trine Pluto, two different times a day. It's all the same. Here it is a grand trine. And it makes a kite because it's opposite Neptune. What this represents is an opportunity, excuse me, for us to feel the flow of information, right? Grand trine in air. So it gives us, we have opportunities here, even though I've already said we're kind of in a little bit of a pickle in with some of these aspects that are so difficult. However, that Libra trine Uranus in Gemini is like open your eyes, open your, what do we say? Open your head to innovative ideas, new ideas, interesting ideas. It's about sudden insight. It's brainstorming opportunities. It's breaking free from old patterns, especially if, you've been stagnant in a relationship, Libra, Sun in Libra. It helps you to break free from that, helps you discover new information about a partnership or a relationship or just a current situation, helps you to discover that. The Sun trine Uranus and then the Sun trine Pluto, the energy of that is it takes things to a little more deeper level. So it's about empowerment and relationship in our relationships and in, anything that we're collaborating with, right? So it will highlight cooperation, fairness, and balance with the transformative energy of that Pluto in Aquarius and thinking things on a whole different level. There is absolutely something here. This is about companies and corporations. That's the Sun in Libra. Or it can just be you as an individual in who you are in your partnerships and your relationships, your side of this, not anybody else's. And then with that Pluto in Aquarius, that Pluto in Aquarius is technology is really taking a step up. So we have a lot going on with that. And think about what it is that you need to do and you need to learn when it comes to new technology, new information. That's the Uranus in Gemini. So we have all of those opportunities going on here. And the cardinal piece of this is, so that means action, is the Libra is cardinal sign and so is Aries. So we have this lead of trusting your dreams and working with that. We are in a new moon phase still, and so we have a few more days to kind of clarify what it is that we want to do in our relationships, in our partnerships, in the things that we collaborate with. Maybe you'll come up with somebody to do a new podcast with, or write a new newsletter, or whatever it is, however it is you're communicating with the people that you like to communicate with and want to communicate with. So whatever that is what you're looking at. So that's what this represents. So good for us. We have a chance to do that. You could still see, though, we have here's the sun trine Pluto when it's exact, and that is at 2:05 a.m. on the 24th Eastern time. Still have some heavy duty quincunx action going on here. Creates a yod. So there's some heavy action right there. And here is Mars quincunx Uranus. And so, oh boy, Mars in Scorpio. Quincunx Uranus and Gemini. Gosh, this is like a wild card. There's a wild card going on here. And it's part of that grand trine. Here, I'll grab my my crayon. If not, I'll grab it. So we have what am I looking at? Mars. There it is. Mars makes that quincunx to Uranus. And Uranus is part of that grand trine. Here's the grand trine. So Uranus is part of that grand trine. And so it means this whole combination, which is something that's going on for the 23rd. I'm looking at my notes, and the 24th. And this is it for the whole week. We only have a couple more charts, but this is really the big news is this. It's like the energy of these grand trines in air, new ideas, new information. Maybe Saturn's not involved in any of this, so I don't see restrictions because I could hear that. I could hear like whatever higher self guide saying there are no. I don't see any too many restrictions. The eclipse on September 21st was just opposite Saturn, so that could have broken some restrictions free. Time will tell. Time will tell. I don't see restrictions in this aspect, but because the Sun, Saturn, and Mars are already done their quincunx. It's a separating aspect now. Mercury is there, though. I mean, the Moon is there, making a connection. Did I tell you what it means, though? Mars in Scorpio, quincunx, Uranus, and Gemini. It creates a lot of tension, a lot of impulse, and impulsive actions, and we're determined just to make some things and to make some changes and big surprises. And so, we always say we always think about oh, I'm not being overly adventurous because I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. Well, sometimes shoe dropping is a good thing, right? Think of it that way. We always think of something shifting and happening sudden as always a negative thing that just throws us off our course, off our center. But sometimes it can be a good thing too. It can be both, of course. I'm not blind to the fact that tough stuff happens. Yeah, I live here too. It's definitely not an easy task some days. But the point is like that Mars quincunx Uranus can be very, it's just unpredictable and maybe volatile. I don't know necessarily volatile because the quincunx is not direct energy, because of the math of it. It's not direct like an opposition or a square, but I think it can create a lot of push pull, not sure what the right direction to go is. It feels uncomfortable. And then we have that's Mars quincunx, Uranus, and then we have Mars square Pluto. This is powerful. I'm serious. So let's draw that out one more time. Let me grab that toolbar. There we are. Do it. There, jeepers. So it squares Pluto and it's quincunx Uranus. And we know that Uranus and Pluto are really close to each other. They're only minutes apart. They're not exact, but they're only minutes apart. And that's a tough one. This is why there is just so much sudden news coming at us that's absolutely horrendous and tragic on all levels from all across the world. It is just unbelievable. So fine, if you have planets near these numbers in your chart, then you may have to deal with something that is very deep and very intense and powerful and may change the trajectory of certain pieces of your life. In hindsight, sometimes that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. People always ask me, that's the number one question I get from people. Is this a good or a bad thing? And it's like, it depends on what you're looking for. Change for one person is maybe they're stuck and they just can't get away from where they're stuck. And change happens really quick and fast. What a relief, what a break, right? And then other people like things to stay the same and they don't want things to change. And so it depends on your perspective. So I cannot tell you if this is good or bad, but what it is it's unpredictable energy that is going to make a big difference in the world, in your world, especially if you know where these early degrees of these zodiac signs are. You have to just know your chart. 0 Gemini, 0, 1, it's 1 degree of Gemini, 1 Scorpio, and of course the moon is there at the same time, and then 1 Aquarius. So, you just got to know where this is. And that just means that there can be this massive issue that shows up and changes everything, or it can be an issue that shows up and changes everything for a more positive outlook. Again, you will have to just look at it. But if you're feeling power struggles, if you're feeling conflict, if you feel you need to assert your control, then you need to do it. I'm not saying you ever should be a doormat. It just means on a personal level, if we've been holding on to fear and anger and we don't know where to put it, then a transit like this, and with the moon coming into Scorpio, a transit like this can really push that energy out and not in a positive way. So you have a heads up, and it's telling you to pay attention to where you might be feeling stressed or angry, or you need a change, or you need to confront somebody, or at least bring something up so there's not a massive confrontation. We have control. We have the free will to take that control. These transits here are general for everybody. They're not for any zodiac sign specifically. Some, of course, are more affected than others. However, you have free will, and that's why I like to forecast like this, because you get to decide, like if it's raining out, if you want to take your raincoat or not. You don't have to. You can decide if you want to confront somebody and really just go all full force in their face and cause stress and diversity or division. Diversity is fine too, but stress and division, or you can go at it from a different way that can be more productive. The sun is in Libra, so we are looking to find a little more balance. I know that's a lot. It is a lot. I know it is. I know it is. Yeah. And so for the rest of the forecast, we have the moon in Scorpio for all of September 25th. That's my sweet mama's 92nd birthday. That'd be great. She'll love some cake as a diabetic. Anyways, moon in Scorpio, right? And so it's giving us an opportunity, as you could see the prior chart, when we were talking about the exact time that Mars squares Pluto and makes that quincunx to Uranus, there's the moon in Scorpio, and that's where it starts Wednesday afternoon. And when it actually it's early Wednesday morning, and all of Wednesday the 24th, all of Thursday, the 25th, and until 5:37 on the 26th, that moon in Scorpio is going to add to that Mars in Scorpio energy, because now the moon has initiated Mars. She's come in and just says, we're taking this to another level. We're going deeper. Let's really dig in. And therapy, therapy, therapy. Talk to your psychotherapist. Talk to the person that you know you can trust with your deep thoughts. And if that doesn't feel safe, find the thing that is comforting for you, because there's nothing wrong with us going deep while that moon is in Scorpio and Mars is there. And it's really going to encourage that, because again, it's been a lot of personal history is being triggered now by what we're seeing in the world around us. And so that's the 25th and the 26th. When the moon gets into the sign of Sagittarius, here's the moon in Sagittarius on the 26th. It moves in at 5:37 p.m. and will stay in Sagittarius from that time forward all the way until we get to next week's forecast on the 29th. So between the 20, halfway into the evening of the 26th, all of the 27th and the 28th. The moon in Sagittarius is a more lighthearted. It gives us an opportunity to be truthful, to be honest, to be open, to share the knowledge that we have. And we can do that by playing and having fun and just being honest. The first aspect that moon makes, nope, it's not the first, but near the first aspect it makes is to Neptune. Where is it? Yeah, it makes a trine aspect to Neptune. Where are you, Neptune? There you go. And then right after that, it makes an opposition to Uranus. So it's trine Neptune and opposite Uranus within the first few hours of going into Sagittarius. So give you some opportunities just to release some stress, to play, to have fun, enjoy life. And that is also rolls us into Saturday. The sun and the moon are sextile, and the moon and Venus are square. So that just gives us a nice opportunity just to chill out and relax, and not feel overstressed. See if I can activate this chart. Which chart is it? That's not the one I want. I want to do this one. I just want to animate it so I can get to one more day. Here's the 26th, and here's the 27th. Saturday, the 27th, as the moon is in Sagittarius. There's a lot of planets that aren't really activated right now because they've already been really powerfully activated for quite some time, like Pluto, like the moon. That's not the moon, that's Mars. Mars is all by itself right now. Yeah, because it's not making any aspects. It's a separating to Pluto, so it's kind of hanging out all by itself. Do some inner work. Do some work. What do you like to do when you're trying to figure out some stuff that's going on in your head? That's what it's telling me. Find that out, do that, take care of that. And then the moon in Sag on Sunday, more play, more fun, a few adjustments when it comes to work and home, since the moon is in a quincunx with Jupiter in Cancer. It just only lasts a few hours and it peaks at 2:21 p.m. on Sunday. Eastern time. And so that just means that yeah, just getting ready for the week, you know going back to school. We're still early in school season, just a few weeks in, a month or so, but still it takes time to get ready to that Sunday night into Monday routine. Yeah, this just means there's a few adjustments going on with that. And just to add to this, as you know, thank you for watching to this far because hardly anyone does. But the the YouTube shorts that I do, they're just 60 to 90 seconds for the most part, and I do something for every day. So you can go check them out. They only go out like 12 hours before that day forecast is because it's just free content for marketing purposes, but it's informative. So you might want to check them out too. Awesome. Thank you guys for your support, and I appreciate it. And don't get this cold because it sucks. Namaste.